Hello, everyone. Tonight, we are stepping quietly. Well, as quietly as you can in crunchy leaves into a world where the moon glows a bit too bright and the shadows are alive. The night air is cold against your skin, the kind of cold that pinches your nose and makes you wish you were back by the fire. But here you are standing at the edge of an ancient forest and you can feel it the weight of something watching you. Giant owls? You probably won't survive, to be honest. But hey, you look great covered in goosebumps. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you really like what I do here. And tell me where you're watching from tonight and what time it is where you are. Now turn off the lights, maybe turn on the fan for some soothing noise, and let's get started tonight. The first thing that hits you isn't the sight of the owl, it's the silence. Not a single cricket. No rustling in the underbrush. It's as if the forest itself is holding its breath. You shuffle forward, feet catching on roots that seem determined to trip you, and glance up at the sky. The stars blink like they know what's about to happen. Then whoosh, a shadow cuts across the moonlight. It's huge. Bigger than any owl you've seen. If you had to guess, you'd say this thing could carry off a deer. Or, you. You drop low, heart hammering in your chest and peer into the dark. The owl circles again, wings so wide they seem to blot out the stars as it glides. You hear a low hiss of air as it dives at some unseen prey. Somewhere far too close there's a horrible squeak and then the forest goes still again. You're suddenly very aware of how small you are crouching there in your prehistoric skin tunic, trying not to look like a snack. Historians still debate whether giant owls of this size really hunted humans, or if the ancient people just had really overactive imaginations during their campfire stories. But standing here with your breath misting the air and your knees shaking, you get why those stories started. The fear is real. The owl's talons glimpsed as it soared past, look long enough to wrap around your skull. You start moving again slowly. Every twig snap sounds like thunder to your ears. The ground is uneven, the forest ancient and tangled. Somewhere you think you hear the soft call of another owl. Or maybe that's just the wind playing tricks. Fun fact, owls have special feathers with fringed edges that let them fly silently, so you'll never hear one coming until it's too late. Pretty comforting, right? The camp is just ahead. A dim glow of embers barely holding back the dark. The others are there, your little group of early humans huddled together, faces tense, weapons clutched tight. You can tell they're trying to act brave, but the way they jump at every shadow gives them away. Someone mutters that the owls are spirits of the dead come to punish the living. Someone else scoffs but keeps their spear pointed skyward. You slip into the circle, relieved to feel the faint warmth of the fire on your face. It's not much, but it's better than nothing. The elders are whispering, arguing quietly. How do you protect yourselves from a predator that can see in near total darkness and strike without a sound? No one has an answer, though. One person suggests maybe just not going outside at night anymore. Sensible. But that's not an option. The night is when you hunt small game, when you gather herbs that only bloom in moonlight. You can't just give it up because of some overgrown bird. A movement at the edge of the firelight catches your eye. Another owl. No, it's just a bat flitting clumsily after insects. Your shoulders sag with relief. For a second, you almost laugh. Imagine being so scared of a giant owl that a bat makes your heart skip. Then the laugh dies in your throat as the real thing glides low over the camp. The firelight glints off its eyes, huge, round, and terrifyingly intelligent. It tilts its head, studying you all, like it's deciding which of you looks easiest to carry off. Someone hurls a stone. It misses by a mile, and the owl vanishes into the dark without a sound. You all sit there listening, straining to hear the beat of wings, the snap of a branch. Nothing. Just the fire crackling and your own panicked breathing. It's going to be a long night. Odd fact of the evening. The ancient people you're standing beside probably believed that owls could see the souls of the dead as they wandered the world. So yeah, no pressure, but that thing watching you from the trees might be checking out your soul right now. Sweet dreams. The fire burns lower and you can feel the weight of the night pressing in. The forest seems alive with hidden eyes. Your group pulls closer together, weapons raised. But you all know the truth. The owl can pick you off one by one if it wants. The fire isn't big enough, your weapons aren't sharp enough, and you aren't fast enough. Not against this predator. Still, you stay awake watching, waiting. And somewhere in your tired, terrified mind, you start to wonder there has to be a way to outsmart it, even if it's the last thing you do. The fire is down to glowing coals now, and your eyes ache from staring into the dark. Every time you blink, you imagine you see those enormous round eyes staring back. And when you don't imagine it, you really see them. You wish you hadn't looked. The giant owl is out there perched, silent as stone, watching. Always watching. It blinks once so slowly you'd think it was carved from the night itself, and you feel as small as a beetle under that gaze. Your fingers tighten on the crude spear in your hand, knuckles white, but honestly, it feels like holding a toothpick against a thunderstorm. The owl's head swivels impossibly smooth, tracking something in the dark. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's one of your companions shifting nervously. Either way, that gaze burns right through the night, right through you. Ew. There's an eerie intelligence in those eyes, a sharpness that sends shivers down your spine. And as you stare back, one thought loops through your mind. What chance do we have against that? Historians still debate whether these giant owls actually existed in the sizes described by ancient stories, or whether their image grew with each retelling. Some theories suggest that early humans exaggerated owl size to explain mysterious disappearances at night. But right now, faced with that shadow, you can believe every word of those legends. The size, the strength, the silent fury of the predator, all of it feels real in your gut. Beside you, one of the hunters tries to muster courage. "We should move," he whispers. "We can't just sit here." But the eldest shakes his head. "If we move, it'll see us clearer. Better to wait." You glance at the hunter's face, sweat shines on his brow despite the chill, and his eyes are wide, darting toward every crackle of the fire or snap of a twig. And then comes the sound that truly freezes your blood. A low, deep hoot, not like the tiny owls you know today, but a noise that feels like it's pulling the breath right out of your chest. It echoes through the trees, bounces off the stones, makes you feel trapped. The owl shifts its feathers, rustling like dry leaves, and launches into the air. You duck instinctively as it sweeps low over your heads, wings wider than a man is tall. The downdraft stirs ash and dust into your face, and for a moment you can't see, can't breathe. You cough and wipe at your eyes, heart pounding. A quick odd fact just to lighten the mood before we all get snatched up. Did you know owls can turn their heads about 270 degrees? No, not all the way around, like in those horror movies, but enough to make you feel like you're being watched even when you think you're safe. Comforting, huh? The owl circles back, but this time it lands on a low branch just at the edge of the fire's weak light. Its talons grip the wood claws long and hooked like sickles. You swear you can hear the wood creak under its weight. It watches silent again, head tilting, as if amused at your little camp, as if it knows you're stuck and it's deciding who gets to be dinner. One of the younger hunters panics. He jumps up, hurling a rock with all his strength. The stone smacks into a tree trunk with a loud crack. The owl doesn't even flinch. Instead, it opens its beak in what might be a yawn or might be a warning, and then it takes off again. The rush of wind from its wings knocks over a small pile of kindling, scattering sparks. Your group huddles closer, every eye on the sky. You sit there listening to the night breathe around you. The owl hoots again, farther off this time, but you know better than to relax. The forest may seem quiet, but you can feel it. The predator is still out there, circling, waiting. Your mind races. There must be a way to fight back to outthink a creature that's ruled the night since before your kind even knew how to make fire. The truth is, early humans weren't the top of the food chain, not by a long shot. You're living proof right now. Small, fragile, squishy things in a world full of teeth and talons and sharp eyes that see you even when you think you're hidden. And you start to understand why your ancestors told stories of spirits and monsters. Sometimes it's easier to believe you're being haunted by something supernatural than to admit you're just prey. Someone in the group mutters, "It's waiting for one of us to stray." That's when it'll strike. Another voice says, "Or maybe it wants us to panic, make a mistake." You feel both suggestions settle in the air like cold mist. Both feel true. Both feel like doom. And here's where the dark humor kicks in your brilliant plan at this point. Stay put and hope the owl finds something tastier. Maybe a deer. Or one of those giant rodents that used to roam around. Hey, no judgment. Survival's survival. You huddle down, pulling your animal hide cloak tighter around you and stare into the dark, wishing for dawn. But dawn is hours away, and that's plenty of time for the owl to decide it's hungry enough to risk the firelight. Around you, the camp falls into a tense, exhausted silence. No one sleeps. No one dares. In the distance, you hear that haunting hoot one more time, echoing through the trees like a promise. The promise that this isn't over. Not yet. Your legs have gone numb from crouching so long and your back aches, but you don't dare shift too much. Every sound, every twig snap or sigh of wind through the trees feels like it could be the start of another owl attack. The group is fraying at the edges now. Tired, frightened, out of ideas. And that's when someone, because there's always someone, decides they've got a plan. You don't catch the whole conversation. It's whispered, heated, with lots of gesturing and wild-eyed glances at the sky. But the gist is clear. If sitting here like terrified mice hasn't worked, maybe it's time to go on the offensive. Maybe, just maybe, you can fool the owl, trick it, scare it off. Honestly. At this point, anything sounds better than waiting to be snatched. And so the first foolish attempts begin. One of the younger hunters rips a strip of bark from a nearby tree and ties it to his head like a makeshift crest. "I look like a predator now," he insists, puffing his chest out. You don't have the heart to tell him he looks more like a startled deer with a fashion problem. Another smears ash across his face in streaks, convinced it will make him invisible in the dark. Someone else grabs a broken branch and waves it around like it's a mighty weapon. The effect is less fearsome warrior and more kid playing dress-up. Historians still debate whether early humans tried these kinds of haphazard disguises to ward off predators, or if that's just a fun interpretation we modern folks like to imagine. But let's be real, if you were desperate enough, wouldn't you try anything? Even if it meant looking like a tree with a nervous twitch. The owl circles back, silent and ominous, and you can almost feel it judging you. The bark crest hunter stands tall, tries to meet its gaze, and lets out what he must think is a fearsome roar. It comes out more like a hoarse cough. The owl, unimpressed, glides overhead without so much as a ruffled feather. The ash-smeared one tries to blend into the shadows, crouching low and staying still. It works, until he sneezes from all the dust he kicked up. The owl swoops lower wings, casting enormous shadows across the camp, and everyone panics again. Spears, raised stones hurled, lots of shouting, none of it doing much good. A fun, odd fact to chew on while you try not to get eaten. Owls' eyes aren't spherical like ours. They're more like tubes, which gives them incredible vision for spotting prey in the dark, but means they can't really roll their eyes. So yes, the owl can judge you with its stare, but at least it can't roll its eyes at your terrible attempts to scare it off. You're starting to feel the sting of defeat creeping in. These plans, if you can even call them that, aren't working. The owl is too smart, too skilled, too utterly at home in the night. You can feel your hope slipping like sand through your fingers. The others feel it too. The bravado fades. The bark crest comes off. The ash gets wiped away. The group falls silent again, huddling close, waiting for the next terrible swoop. And here's where the gentle sarcasm creeps in. Hats off for trying right. You gave it your best shot. If you ever find yourself face to face with a predator that can see in the dark, fly without a sound, and snatch you up before you can blink, maybe skip the bark hats. Just a thought. The owl calls again, and this time the sound feels closer, heavier, as if it settled right into your bones. You shiver, not from the cold, but from the weight of that noise. The group shares a look, a silent agreement, no more silly tricks. If you're going to survive the night, it'll take more than play acting and panic. It'll take something clever, something new. The fire spits a shower of sparks into the night, briefly illuminating the forest around you. For a heartbeat, you see the owl again, perched high, wings half-spread, eyes reflecting the firelight like twin moons. And then it's gone back into the dark, leaving only the sound of your ragged breathing and the distant call of night creatures. Historians still debate whether this period, the fumbling attempts, the trial and error of survival, was when humans first began to think of themselves as problem solvers rather than just prey. Did moments like this spark the beginnings of strategy, or was it pure desperation luck that happened to look like cleverness in hindsight? Whatever the truth, you can feel that shift now. The group is thinking, planning, not just reacting. And that's something. You settle down again. Heart-slowing breath evening out. The night stretches on, heavy with tension, but also with the faintest glimmer of hope. The owl is out there, but so are you. And you're not done yet. Word count pen 84. You're still quiet, listening to the night pulse around you. The fire has died down to little more than a glow now, casting long, flickering shadows that dance on the twisted trunks of ancient trees. The owl hasn't shown itself again for what feels like hours, but you know better than to think it's gone. It's there somewhere above, patient, waiting for another chance to strike. And that's when the universe gives your group an unexpected gift, or maybe just plays a joke. One of the hunters, poor fellow, tries to stand, maybe to stretch his cramping legs, maybe to sneak off and relieve himself, who knows. His foot catches a gnarled root hidden in the dark, and down he goes. Hard. There's a loud splat, a grunt, and then silence as everyone freezes, eyes wide, listening for the sound of wings. But instead of the owl's attack, all you hear is the squelch of mud. As the man sits up, dripping, covered from head to toe in the sticky, stinking muck of a forest wallow. For a heartbeat, no one says a word. Then someone snorts. Someone else chuckles. The tension cracks just enough for a laugh to escape your throat, too. The mud-soaked hunter glares, but even he sees the ridiculousness of it. He looks like a creature of the swamp, head, smeared hair, matted as outline, all but erased under layers of wet earth. And that's when something odd happens. The owl circles overhead again, but it doesn't swoop, doesn't call, doesn't even seem to notice the man sitting there like a soggy lump of dirt. It glides past, disinterested, and vanishes into the dark. Historians still debate whether this was how early camouflage techniques began by accident, a clumsy fall that sparked a clever idea. Some say humans observed animals rolling in mud and decided to copy them. Others think it was pure chance, just like you're witnessing now. But standing there watching that giant owl pass over without striking you can almost feel the click of understanding ripple through your little group. The hunter wipes mud from his face, eyes narrowing thoughtfully. "It didn't see me," he says, wonder softening his voice. And just like that, the seed of a plan is planted. You can't help but grin even as the cold of the night seeps deeper into your bones. The idea is so simple it feels almost silly. If you can't outfight the owl, maybe you can outhide it. Maybe, just maybe, you can use the night, the mud, the very forest itself to your advantage. The thought sends a small thrill through you. For the first time all night, you're not just prey. You're a thinker, a planner, a creature with a fighting chance. Odd fact break. Did you know that ancient humans probably didn't bathe as often as we do today? But when they did, it was often in muddy rivers or streams. Turns out mud might have been their skincare routine and their survival tactic. Who knew? The group gathers around the muddy hunter, everyone talking at once. Ideas fly. What if you all cover yourselves in mud? What if you use ash too? What if you smear yourself so thick the owl won't know where you end and the ground begins? Someone jokes about becoming mud statues until dawn. Another says they'd rather smell like swamp than end up owl food. The laughter is nervous but real. It's the first moment of real hope you've shared since nightfall. Historians still debate whether early humans learned camouflage from watching other animals, boars, deer, even certain birds, or if it was trial and error. Like this. There's no cave painting that shows the exact moment, no ancient journal that says, "Dear Diary, today I discovered mud armor." But this moment right here feels like the kind of discovery that changes everything. You crouch beside the hunter and scoop up a handful of mud, cool and slimy between your fingers. You smear it along your arms, your face feeling the weight of it, the grounding of it. The others follow, smearing and splattering until you're all unrecognizable shapes in the night. The fire is left to burn down completely now, no more beacon to draw the owl's eye. Just the darkness and you hidden within it. The owl calls again farther off, now searching. You hold your breath, heart racing as it glides past once more, close enough that the wind of its wings stirs your hair. But it doesn't strike, doesn't even slow. You're part of the night now, part of the mud and shadow. And for the first time, the giant predator has no idea where you are. You stay like that, crouched and silent until your muscles ache, and the cold bites through even the thickest layer of muck. But you endure. Because now you have a plan. Now you know that brains might just win over talons and beak. And as the owl fades into the distance, you find yourself smiling in the dark, a little muddy, a little ridiculous, but alive. The mud dries cold and stiff against your skin, cracking slightly as you shift, but you don't dare scrape it off. The night still stretches heavy and dark around you, the giant owl out there somewhere circling, watching. But for the first time tonight, you feel like you're more than just a target. You're a ghost in the dark. A smear of earth and ash the owl can't quite see. The fire's glow has faded to nothing, leaving you with only starlight and shadow for company. The group crouches together, whispering, plotting in hushed tones. The accidental mud disguise worked. But what if you could do more? One of the elders suggests smearing ash from the cold fire pit over the mud to break up the outline even further. You nod, already rubbing the fine black dust across your face, your arms, anywhere the pale of your skin might catch moonlight. The ash clings to the mud, darkening it, making you look less like a person and more like a piece of the night itself. Historians still debate whether early humans learned to use ash and mud together by observing animals or through their own experiments. There's evidence from ancient campsites that suggests ash had many uses, from cleaning hides to masking scent, but whether it started as camouflage, that's still up for grabs. But as you stand there hidden in your makeshift mask, you can feel the brilliance of it. The owl may have the eyes of a god, but even gods can be fooled by shadows. The group spreads out, a little testing the trick. You move through the trees slowly, deliberately, avoiding open spaces where the moonlight might betray you. And you realize something: the owl isn't reacting. It isn't swooping down, isn't calling out. It's there. You hear the soft beat of its wings now and then, but it isn't finding you. Your muddy ashen skin blends with the trunks, the rocks, the earth. Odd fact break, because I can't resist. Did you know that owls' eyes are so sensitive they can see in light levels 100 times dimmer than what we need? And yet here you are, invisible to one of the best sets of eyes nature ever made. Not bad for a creature that can't even see its own reflection clearly in a still pond. The owl glides low once, then higher, searching. You catch a glimpse of it, a massive silent shadow against the stars, and you freeze, heart pounding so hard you're sure it can hear it. But no, it passes on, head swiveling side to side, puzzled, maybe, frustrated. You like to think so. After all, tonight, the hunter isn't winning. You drop low again, pressing your back to the cool bark of a tree, breathing slow, shallow. The mud smells of damp earth, the ash of old fire. Your nose itches, of course, because it always does at the worst moment, but you don't move. You can almost feel the night itself wrapping around you, hiding you. And for a brief, ridiculous moment, you feel like you've joined the forest. Part of it. Just another piece of the puzzle the owl can't solve. Someone whispers from the dark. It works. The words are filled with wonder, hope, maybe even a little pride. You grin though no one can see it. You all look like ghosts now, shapeless, shadowed, safe, at least for the moment. Historians still debate whether these early moments of trickery and disguise were the start of more complex hunting and survival strategies. Did camouflage lead to decoys, to ambushes, to plans that turned the tables on predators? There's no way to know for sure. But tonight you can feel the seeds of that change being planted. The night no longer belongs only to the owl. The group settles in, crouching among the roots and rocks, letting the dark be your ally. The owl calls again, this time farther off, as if realizing its easy hunt has turned difficult. You listen, muscles tense but heart steadier. The night is long. The owl is patient. But now, so are you. And in this new stillness, with the mud drying hard and the ash clinging to your skin, you start to wonder, what else can humans do to trick the night? The owl may rule the skies, but maybe, just maybe, the earth is yours. The air is thick with the scent of mud and old fire, and you can feel the cool weight of the ash caked on your skin. The owl is quieter now, as if confused or maybe just biding its time. But you and your group aren't waiting idly anymore, and the near disaster with the owl has flipped some ancient survival switch in your mind, and suddenly, every rustle of wind, every hoot, every crack of branch feels like a puzzle to solve rather than a death knell. Someone nudges your arm, one of the younger hunters, eyes wide and gleaming in the dark. "What if we talk to it?" he whispers. You stare at him like he's lost his mind. But he's serious. If it thinks we're one of its own, maybe it'll leave. There's a beat of silence as everyone digests this idea. It sounds absurd, but at this point, what doesn't? And so begins the first attempts at owl mimicry. A chorus of cautious, breathy hoots fills the night, at first soft, then bolder as confidence grows. You join in, shaping your mouth in a round O and trying to match the owl's haunting low call. The forest echoes with your awkward symphony, and if owls could laugh, you're pretty sure this one would be rolling on its branch right now. Odd fact, break owls' calls aren't just for show. They're territorial markers, mating signals, and warnings. Each species has its own distinct hoot pattern, and to make things more complicated, they can vary their tone based on mood. So yeah, good luck speaking owl on your first try. Historians still debate whether early humans truly tried vocal mimicry to fend off predators, or whether the strange noises were just desperate attempts to scare things off. But standing here, mouth dry from hooting like a fool, you feel like you're part of some ancient experiment. The owl responds with a call of its own, low, drawn out like a warning. Your group freezes. Did it buy it? Did it just warn you off its turf, or is it telling you, "Nice try, dinner"? One hunter, emboldened by the exchange, tries again. His hoot is louder, longer, and not gonna lie, closer to what you've heard from the owl. There's a pause, as if the night itself is holding its breath, and then the owl sweeps overhead, wings ghosting over your heads. You duck instinctively, but this time it doesn't strike. Instead, it circles, puzzled, maybe cautious. You can almost see its round face tilting, trying to make sense of this new development. Your heart races with excitement and terror. The mimicry might not have scared it off, but it's doing something. You're not just waiting for death anymore, you're engaging part of the game. You feel that shift deep in your bones. The night isn't just the owl's domain, not entirely. And here's your fun, slightly off-topic fact of the evening. Some modern researchers have found that certain owls can mimic the calls of other species to trick rivals or prey. Imagine that while you're out here trying to fool an owl somewhere out there, an owl is probably trying to fool you. Nature's got a wicked sense of humor. The group keeps trying, adjusting the pitch, the rhythm. There's a learning curve, sure. Some calls earn nothing but silence. Others draw the owl closer, which is both thrilling and terrifying. One hunter accidentally mimics what must be a mating call because the owl lets out a sound that's half hoot, half screech, and dives toward the group before veering off at the last second. You all collapse into nervous laughter, the tension broken just for a moment. Historians still debate whether mimicry like this led to more complex communication among early humans, or if it was simply a side note in the grand story of survival. But tonight you can feel how trying to speak the language of the predator connects you in a strange primal way. You're no longer just reacting, you're participating. The owl fades back into the trees, its calls softer now, more questioning than threatening. And you crouch there in the dark, breathless and muddy, feeling like you've crossed some invisible line. You're not out of danger yet, but for the first time you feel like you've got a say in how this night ends. The night stretches on thick as tar, and even though your mimicry has bought you a little breathing room, you know it's only temporary. The giant owl is still out there, watching, waiting, maybe a little confused but not gone. The group huddles together again, whispering ideas, desperate for the next step. And that's when someone points toward the edge of the woods where the trees thin out and the ground opens into scrubby grassland. Fires, they murmur. Small ones. Away from here. Maybe we draw it off. You blink at the simplicity of it. Why didn't anyone think of that sooner? The owl hunts by sight, by the subtle movements of prey in the moonlight. What if you gave it something else to see, something to chase? The idea sparks through the group like lightning. Fires, decoys, a distraction so you can survive the night. Historians still debate whether early use of decoy fires was a stroke of deliberate genius or just another accident that happened to work. Some suggest that wandering embers from abandoned hearths taught humans this trick. Others think it was a natural leap if fire keeps most predators away. Maybe fire placed elsewhere can pull danger away too. Either way, tonight you're about to find out firsthand. Your group springs into action fast but silent. The mud and ash still clings to your skin, keeping you hidden as you move through the trees. You gather the driest twigs, the fluff of dead grass, resinous bark that will catch easily. No one speaks now. Words feel too loud, too risky. The forest holds its breath with you. You set the first pile near a fallen log at the clearing's edge, far enough that the glow won't betray your true location. A hunter strikes a flint and the spark leaps to the tinder with a hiss. The flames catch small but eager, licking at the wood. The firelight flickers and dances, casting long false shadows that move like prey in the grass. Odd fact for your night of terror. Did you know that early humans were so good at controlling fire that archaeologists have found evidence of ancient hearths arranged in rings and patterns? It wasn't just about warmth, it was about strategy. Tonight you're adding your chapter to that story. You move quickly now, setting 2 more small fires in different spots. Each one flickers to life, sending smoke into the night air, masking your scent, muddling the owl's keen senses. The fires pop and crackle, their glow drawing the eye, their heat bending the air. And sure enough, the owl responds. A low hoot closer now, followed by the soft rush of its wings. It glides toward the clearing, toward the decoy fires, circling, curious, cautious. From your hiding spot, you watch its silhouette against the flames. It lands on a dead branch, tilting its head, trying to make sense of the flickering shapes and shadows. You can almost imagine it thinking prey that burns. That's new. Historians still debate whether owls of that size would have been fooled for long, or if they simply grew wary of fire and left humans alone. But tonight, for these precious moments, the trick works. The owl lingers by the fires distracted, giving you and your group the chance to breathe, to think, to survive. Your heart hammers in your chest as you watch the giant predator pace the edges of the clearing wings, half-spread eyes gleaming in the firelight. It lets out a frustrated screech, one that makes your hair stand on end, then rises into the air again. This time, though, it doesn't fly toward you. It follows the glow drawn by the false promise of easy prey. A quiet, shaky laugh escapes your lips, and you slap a muddy hand over your mouth. The plan worked. You actually outsmarted the night's terror, at least for now. And in that flickering firelight, you feel a tiny spark of something stronger than fear, confidence. Maybe the night doesn't belong entirely to the owl after all. The fires crackle in the distance, their flickering light drawing the owl farther from your camp, farther from the huddled shapes of your group. You can just make out the giant bird's silhouette as it glides around the false prey, confused perhaps, or simply unwilling to give up the hunt so easily. Its enormous wings beat the night air, stirring ash and smoke, but it doesn't strike. It's wary, now cautious of the fire's heat, puzzled by prey that doesn't flee. Your group stays low hidden among the roots and rocks, watching, breathing, thinking. The fire's worked, but what if the owl grows wise to the trick? What if it realizes soon that flames don't bleed, that shadows don't scream? The owl's no fool, and neither are you. You know you need the next step, something clever, something to keep the predator guessing. And that's when one of the hunters, the same one who tried Bark Crest earlier, has another flash of strange genius. We make shapes. He whispers, his voice a thread of sound. Shapes like owls, bigger owls, so it thinks we're rivals. For a second, the group stares at him like he's gone mad. But then the idea sinks in and you all realize it just might work. The owl isn't the only hunter that guards its territory. Maybe, just maybe, if it thinks another giant owl is here, it'll back off. Historians still debate whether early humans used mimicry of predators to ward off danger, or if this idea is modern romanticism layered onto ancient survival. But here in the cold dark, it feels real. It feels right. You move quickly, silently, gathering what you can. Fallen feathers from smaller birds, strips of bark leaves, anything that can catch the light and break your outline into something unrecognizable. You help fashion crude cloaks, binding the bits together with sinew and vine. The result is rough, wild nothing that would pass as a real owl in the daylight. But here, in the shifting shadows and the glow of distant fires, it's convincing enough. The feathered shapes loom larger, the bark crests and ragged edges giving the illusion of wings, of beaks, of something not to be messed with. You drape one of the cloaks over your shoulders, feeling ridiculous and powerful all at once. Odd fact, some birds of prey will indeed avoid hunting in the territory of larger, stronger rivals, and there are even records of smaller birds grouping together to mimic the calls of bigger predators when threatened. Nature's playbook is full of these strange, clever tricks. You and the others spread out, staying near enough to each other to feel the safety of the group, but far enough to present the illusion of a scattered gathering of massive, shadowy forms. The fires still burn, casting long, broken shapes that dance in the grass. The owl circles again, low and slow, trying to make sense of the scene below. You stand as tall as you can, spreading your arms under the cloak, letting the bark and feathers catch the wind. The night breeze tugs at the crude disguise, making it shift, flicker, seem alive. The owl hesitates. You see it, wings half spread, head tilting, talons flexing on a dead branch. It hoots deep and slow, a question. A warning. But it doesn't dive, it doesn't attack. The fires, the shapes you've given it, reason to pause. Historians still debate whether such moments were pure luck or the start of deliberate deception as a tool for survival. Did humans invent the idea of the decoy cloak that night? Or was it instinct born from countless close calls and desperate acts? Either way, tonight you feel the power of it. You're no longer just hiding. You're fighting back in the cleverest way you know how. The owl lingers a while longer, circling, calling once more. But the answer it hears, the shapes it sees, make it think twice. With a final frustrated screech that echoes through the trees, it turns and glides into the dark, leaving you standing there, mud-caked, ash-streaked, wrapped in your absurd, brilliant cloak, heart pounding with the thrill of survival. And for the first time all night, the silence feels like peace rather than fear. The owl's final screech still echoes in your ears, but the great predator itself has vanished into the night, swallowed by the dark beyond the reach of your decoy fires. You stand there breathing hard, the crude feathered cloak heavy on your shoulders, mud cracking at your joints, ash smudge thick across your face. The forest hums softly now, tiny sounds returning, the night's smaller creatures daring to move again. The owl is gone for now, but no one relaxes completely. You all know better. The group gathers in the half-light of the dying fires, glances exchanged, plans forming wordlessly. The shapes, the fires, the mimicry, it all worked, but the night isn't over and the owl might return. Or worse, it might come back smarter. One of the elders squints into the dark, voice low. We do more than scare. We end it. There's a pause. Tonight, we take the fight to it. It sounds mad, and maybe it is. But after all you've endured, the terror, the tricks, the near misses, you feel the truth of it in your bones. It's not enough to hide and hope. The owl will come back again and again as long as it thinks this camp is easy prey. Tonight you end that. Somehow. Historians still debate whether early humans ever turned the tables so directly on their predators, whether they planned ambushes for creatures like this, or whether survival mostly meant avoidance and defense. But here now, you're part of a group that has had enough of running. You're going to try what no one's dared before. The plan is simple in theory, terrifying in practice. You'll lure the owl close with another fire or two, another scattering of those strange cloaked shapes. But this time you'll be ready. You'll be hidden beneath the shadows, weapons ready, stones gathered, traps set where you can manage. It's not much, but it's what you have. Odd fact, break giant prehistoric owls, if they existed as large as legends suggest, would have been some of the top nocturnal predators of their time, with talons strong enough to crush bones. And yet those talons weren't invincible. No predator is not when a group of desperate thinking humans bands together. You move swiftly, as silent as possible. Small fires are kindled again. This time placed to create a funnel light, drawing the owl toward a narrow gap between two ancient trees where the ambush will spring. The cloaked figures, yourself included, stand in the open just beyond the flames. Part of the trick, part of the bait. The mud and ash disguise stays on your scent. Masked your shape, distorted your outline, broken by feathers and bark. Hidden behind rocks and in shallow pits the others wait, gripping sharpened sticks, weighted stones. Anything that could be hurled or jabbed at the moment of truth. Your heart beats fast, every thump loud in your ears. You keep your breathing steady, your stance loose but ready. You glance at the others, their faces streaked and grim eyes sharp despite exhaustion. No one speaks. The forest is silent again, that awful expectant hush. Then whoosh, there! The owl returns. It circles once, twice slower this time, as if trying to puzzle out this new arrangement. It hoots a low sound that seems to roll through your chest. You don't move. The fires flicker. The cloaks sway gently in the night breeze. The owl glides lower, eyes glowing faintly, scanning for weakness. It hesitates at first, maybe remembering the fires, the false shapes, but hunger or pride or fury drives it on. Historians still debate whether such confrontations really played out like this, whether ancient humans could coordinate well enough to turn the night's terror into its own trap. But as you stand there, every nerve on edge, every sense straining, you believe it. You know it. The owl dives. The moment its shadow sweeps low, the trap springs. Spears jab upward from hiding places, stones arc through the night air toward that deadly shape. The owl shrieks, angry, surprised, maybe even hurt as the first strikes hit home. It wheels away, talons slashing at the air, but not before another stone cracks against its wing, sending it off balance. It crashes through low branches, a chaotic burst of wings and fury and feathers before rising again, battered but alive, retreating into the dark. You stand panting, watching the night swallow it once more, listening to its cries fade into the distance. And though the ambush didn't kill the owl, it did something just as important. It worked. The predator learned that tonight this camp isn't easy prey. Tonight the humans fought back and lived. The owl's shriek still echoes in your ears, mingling with the sounds of branches snapping and leaves scattering where it crashed through the trees. The night feels raw now, like a wound half-healed, but still aching. You stand there, breath ragged, the mud and ash clinging to your skin in patches, the crude feathered cloak torn where the owl's downdraft caught it. Around you, the group is scattered, emerging from their hiding spots one by one, faces, pale eyes, wide hands shaking from the sheer intensity of what just happened. No one speaks at first. The night itself seems to be catching its breath along with you. The fires burn low, their glow a flickering reminder of the chaos you just survived. And then slowly, the forest stirs again, small noises, timid at first. The cautious rustle of rodents, the whisper of wind through the grass, even the chirp of a brave cricket. The owl has gone, at least for now. But what lingers is the chaos of that brief standoff. You replay it in your mind, the moment the owl dove, the flurry of spears and stones, the terrifying sweep of those enormous talons. It was a mess. A loud, desperate, messy fight. And yet, it worked. Sort of. The owl didn't get what it wanted. Neither did you, not exactly. You didn't bring it down, didn't end the threat, but you proved something vital: humans aren't so easy to pick off anymore. Historians still debate whether such chaotic night battles were common, or whether most human-predator encounters were over in a single silent strike. Some argue that stories of great owl battles were exaggerated later to make victories seem grander than they were. But standing here now with sweat cooling on your skin and mud flaking from your arms, you feel how real the chaos was. There's no need to exaggerate it. The night was terrifying enough without embellishment. One of the younger hunters laughs sharp, brittle, the sound of someone who can't quite believe they're still alive. "Did you see its face?" he gasps between breaths, like it couldn't believe we fought back. The others join in a rough, nervous chorus of chuckles that's more relief than joy. You can't help it, you laugh too, because it was ridiculous and amazing and terrifying. And somehow you're all still standing. Odd fact break, because we all need a little weirdness right now. Did you know that owls can rotate their heads up to 270 degrees without cutting off blood flow to their brains? Special blood vessels and air pockets help them do it. Handy skill when you're trying to keep an eye on panicked humans in every direction at once. You help gather the scattered stones and check the spears, some splintered from the strike, others still sharp enough for another go. The group works quietly now, a strange mix of exhilaration and exhaustion settling over everyone. The fires are fed with small branches, just enough to keep the glow alive without turning night into day. You're not trying to draw the owl back, not yet. But you're not ready to sit in total dark again either. Historians still debate whether the owl retreated out of fear, confusion, or simple self-preservation. Was it hurt enough to give up? Or did it realize that humans in numbers with fire and weapons are a force not worth the risk? There's no answer tonight. All you know is that it's gone, at least for now, and you're still here. Muddy, bruised, shaken, but alive. The group begins to settle again, though no one dares sleep. The fires crackle softly, their light dancing over faces that seem older now, wiser in the ways of the night. You sit, cloak draped around your shoulders, listening, watching, waiting, because deep down you know this isn't over. The owl may come back. The night may still hold danger. but the balance has shifted just a little. The chaos of the standoff has taught you something important. Together with wits and will, and whatever crude tools you can muster, you can face the terrors of the dark, and maybe, just maybe, come out the other side. The forest hums softly now, that strange in-between quiet where danger has passed, but no one dares believe it's truly over. You sit, the cool mud drying stiff on your skin, the makeshift cloak heavy across your shoulders. The fires are little more than embers, glowing like watchful eyes in the dark. You expect the owl to return at any moment to descend again in a rush of wings and fury. But instead, the night offers up something else. A sound, low guttural close, a snarl sharp and hungry that doesn't come from above but from the ground. Your group tenses, eyes wide, scanning the shadows, and there, slinking between the trees, come wolves. A small pack, thin and wary, drawn by the scent of the chaos maybe, or the promise of scraps left in the wake of the owl's failed hunt. Their eyes gleam faintly in the starlight, their forms ghosting between the trunks like spirits of the forest. Odd fact. Break ancient wolves' ancestors of the ones you know today weren't always the pack hunters we imagine. Some traveled in loose family groups, others scavenged alone, bold enough to approach human camps when opportunity knocked. Tonight, it seems, opportunity is knocking loud. The wolves don't charge, don't snarl and snap as you might expect. They pace, watching, testing, and then there above the owl returns. A sudden rush of wings, a low screech of frustration as it spots the intruders. The predator of the sky meets the predators of the ground, and for a heartbeat, you and your group are forgotten. The owl swoops, low talons extended, aiming not for your group this time, but for one of the wolves straying too near the clearing. The wolf dodges, teeth flashing, and snaps at the owl's leg as it passes. The forest explodes with noise, growls, screeches, the thunder of paws, and the rush of wings. The wolves scatter and regroup, harrying the owl from below, while the giant bird wheels and strikes, trying to drive them off. Historians still debate whether early humans witnessed such clashes often, or if encounters like this were rare, half-remembered and magnified in later retellings. But here now, you see it with your own eyes. Predator against predator, each testing the other's strength. Each too stubborn, too hungry to back down easily. Your group watches stunned as this unexpected battle unfolds, and then the opportunity becomes clear. The owl is distracted, its attention divided. The perfect moment. The elder gestures a sharp motion, and the hunters creep forward, slow and silent, mud darkened, cloaked in the night. Spears gripped tight, stones readied once more. You move with them, heart hammering the air thick with tension. The owl dives again, talons catching only air as the wolves scatter once more. A stone arcs from your group's hiding place, striking the owl's wing. Another follows, glancing off its back. The owl shrieks, veering upward, furious, its great wings beating the air. But it can't strike at all of you at once. Not with the wolves below, not with the humans rising from the dark. Historians still debate whether moments like this mark the first real alliances, unspoken, accidental perhaps, between human and wolf. Was this where mutual respect began, or was it just shared desperation, two species seizing the same chance for survival? Either way, tonight you feel it. That strange, fleeting unity against a common enemy. The owl wheels high now, retreating wings heavy with exhaustion, perhaps with injury. It calls once sharp and bitter before fading into the night, leaving behind silence and the soft, wary panting of the wolves as they watch you from the shadows. No one moves. No one breathes. The moment hangs delicate as spider silk before the wolves melt into the trees, vanishing as quietly as they came. You're left standing there, trembling, exhilarated, the night once more yours, if only for now. The forest feels different now. The tension that gripped you has loosened its hold, leaving behind an uneasy calm. The owl is gone. The wolves have vanished, and all that remains is the night itself, deep and vast and full of possibilities. You stand there breathing in the cool, damp air, the weight of exhaustion settling heavy in your limbs. The fires burn low, flickering like dying stars, and the mud on your skin has hardened into a brittle crust. You feel like a sculpture, shaped by fear and survival. The group gathers slowly drawn together by instinct more than need. No one says much at first. What is there to say? You survived. You outlasted the night's terror, but the cost is written in the bruises on your arms, the scratches on your legs, the rawness in your throat from shouts and hoots and breath held too long. You limp back toward the center of the camp, every step reminding you just how close danger came. Someone finally breaks the silence. "We did it," they murmur, though their voice is more wonder than triumph. Another hunter snorts softly, wiping mud from his face. "Barely. And that's the truth of it, isn't it? You made it through, but only just. The fires, the cloaks, the traps, the wolves, all of it together turned the tide. Alone, any one of those things might have failed. But together it was enough." Historians still debate whether these kinds of nights of terror, followed by fragile victory, were what shaped early human cooperation. Did facing a shared threat forge bonds that made communities stronger? Or were such moments forgotten as soon as the sun rose and the fear faded? You wonder about that now as you slump beside what's left of the fire, letting the last warmth seep into your bones. Someone pokes at the embers with a stick, stirring up a soft spiral of sparks. The light plays across tired faces, eyes that look older now, wiser in ways no one wanted. The group begins to murmur, voices low, recounting what worked, what almost got you killed, what might be done differently if the owl or any predator returns. The ideas come slow at first, then faster, the way thoughts do when fear turns to reflection. "We should build higher fires next time," one suggests. "Or spread the camp out more, make it harder for it to strike." "More decoys," another says. "Better shapes. Maybe with bones to make them look solid." "Maybe we leave offerings someone else muses, half serious, half hopeful, to keep the spirits of the night happy." Odd fact break, because we've earned it in some ancient cultures, people did leave small gifts at the edges of their camps, stones stacked in cairns, bits of food, even pieces of worked flint, not to feed animals, but to appease what they believed were the spirits or gods of the wild. Was it superstition? A survival strategy? Both historians, as you might guess, still debate that too. You sit listening, adding your own thoughts when they simmer. The mud cracks as you move, flaking off in dull chunks that fall to the ground like bits of old armor. Your hands are sore from gripping stones, your knees scraped raw from crouching in the dark. And yet, despite the pain you feel, something unexpected pride. Not because you defeated the owl, not really, but because you stood together, because you learned, because you lived. The night presses on, quieter now, the immediate danger past, but none of you dares sleep yet. The memory of those talons, those wings that gaze, it's too fresh, too vivid. Instead, you sit and plan and remember. You think of what worked: the mud, the ash, the fires, the cloaks, the chaos of the ambush, the strange luck of the wolves. And you think of what nearly failed: the panic, the rushed traps, the noise that could have drawn more predators. Historians still debate whether reflection like this was common around ancient fires, or whether it's just our modern minds romanticizing the past. But here now, you see how necessary it is. Survival isn't just about what you do in the moment, it's about what you remember, what you pass on. And tonight you have plenty to remember. The fires have burned down to little more than a warm memory, the faintest glow flickering at the heart of blackened wood. Above you, the stars wheel silently across the night sky, unbothered by the small, muddy creatures huddled beneath them. Your group sits close, bodies aching, eyes heavy, but no one dares close them. Not yet. The owl may be gone for now, but the lesson of the night is clear. The dark holds secrets, and those secrets are always watching. You and the others turn your attention to the trees, to the places where the owl had perched, where it had watched and waited. You begin to study not with fear this time, but with a strange new curiosity. Where did it sit? How long before it attacked? What could you do to spot it sooner next time? The idea takes root if you can understand how the owl hunts. Maybe you can make sure it never gets the drop on you again. Historians still debate whether early humans truly studied predator behavior as deliberately as you are now, or if they simply reacted instinct honed by generations of near misses. But here you are tracking with your eyes the silent places where the owl once waited, searching for patterns in the night. Someone points to a crooked branch high in a gnarled tree, its bark stripped smooth where talons had gripped. It always watched from there, they whisper. Another nods toward a large stone at the edge of the clearing. And from there, too. It chose the high ground, the clear line of sight. The pieces come together. The owl didn't strike at random. It chose its perches carefully, places where it could see the whole camp, where it could plan its attacks. Odd fact, break many species of owls, giant or otherwise, prefer to perch above their prey, not just for the view, but because it lets them conserve energy before striking. Owls are efficient hunters designed by nature to waste as little as possible. The owl that stalked you tonight, it wasn't just fierce. It was smart, and that's what makes outsmarting it feel like such a triumph. You and the group begin to mark the perches in your minds, those twisted branches, those ancient rocks. You talk about ways to make them less useful to the owl, maybe hang hides to block its view, maybe place thorny branches where it likes to sit. One hunter suggests setting traps at the base of these perches, crude snares or pits, to catch the owl if it tries to land. The ideas are rough, untested, but they're ideas, and that matters. Historians still debate whether early humans' success in these moments came more from their growing intelligence or from sheer stubbornness. Maybe it was both. Maybe nights like this, full of danger and discovery, were what shaped human survival more than any tool or weapon ever did. You crouch low, tracing a claw mark in the dirt with your finger, feeling the weight of what the night taught you. The owl was a master of the dark, but not invincible. It had habits, weaknesses. And now so do you. You're stronger where you were ignorant before, wiser where you were vulnerable. The forest around you begins to feel different. Still dangerous, yes, but no longer unknowable. The night isn't just something to endure. It's something you can learn from. You can see its patterns, its rhythms, its hidden paths and perches. And with that knowledge comes power. Someone starts stacking small stones at the edge of the clearing, marking where the owl had landed. A quiet ritual, perhaps, or just a way to remember. Others join in placing bits of charred wood or feathers near key spots. A map of sorts built from the night's struggle. A reminder. A promise. The owl may come again. The night will always hold its terrors, but next time you'll be ready. The forest feels like it's holding its breath, but this time you're not frozen with fear. You're listening, watching, learning. The owl may have retreated for now, but its shadow still stretches across the clearing, a silent reminder of the danger that comes with the dark. Yet something's shifted inside you, inside your group. The night no longer feels like an endless threat. It feels like a puzzle, a challenge, one that with enough care, you might just survive again. The group settles into a fragile peace. You rebuild the fire, but not too high, just enough for warmth, enough to keep the worst of the night's chill at bay. No one wants to draw the owl back with too much light. The cloaks of bark and feathers are folded and set aside, ready for the next time they're needed. The traps you hastily built are checked and adjusted, though everyone knows they'd need improvement if the owl returns. Someone hums softly a low tune that sounds like the wind weaving through the trees. It's not a song, not really, more a way to fill the space that fear once occupied. The others join in, quiet voices blending with the night, a reminder that you're still here. Still human, still defying the dark, Historians still debate whether ancient humans ever truly made peace with the predators of the night, or if what we now imagine as coexistence was simply long, uneasy stalemates. Did humans adjust their lives to avoid conflict? Did predators learn to give these clever fire-wielding bipeds a wider berth? The truth, as always, is probably somewhere in between. Tonight, you feel that balance beginning to form. You and the others talk quietly about what will change. No more careless sleeping under open skies. Camps will be chosen with perches in mind, with clear sight lines with places to hide if needed. Fires will be placed strategically not just for warmth but as barriers as guides for the eye. The night will still belong to the owl, but now the humans will claim a small corner of it. Odd fact break. In some ancient myths, owls were seen as messengers between the living and the dead, symbols of wisdom and warning. Tonight you can see how that image might have taken root. The owl brought terror, yes, but also forced you to grow sharper, more aware. In its silent gaze, you glimpsed not just a hunter, but a lesson. The forest begins to relax with you. The smaller night creatures return to their business, skittering through the underbrush, calling softly to one another. The wind stirs the trees, carrying the scent of damp earth, of ash, of smoke. You sit with it all, letting the rhythm of the night settle into your bones. The fear isn't gone, but it's no longer the only thing you feel. Historians still debate whether moments like this were turning points when humans stopped seeing themselves as helpless in the face of nature's dangers and started seeing themselves as part of the balance. But in this quiet, with the fires low and the stars watching, you feel that shift. The night isn't just something to fear. It's something to navigate, to respect, to survive. You lean back, gaze lifted to the sky, the weight of the owl's absence as heavy as its presence once was. And for the first time, you let yourself hope that maybe, just maybe, the dawn will find you here alive, stronger, ready for whatever comes next. The night wears on the stars, slowly drifting across the sky, tracing ancient paths that your ancestors once followed across entire continents. The fires have burned down to embers now, little islands of warmth in a sea of shadow. You sit quietly, listening to the night breathe around you, every rustle and whisper, no longer a cause for panic, but part of a song you're finally beginning to understand. Your group is still resting in that delicate space between vigilance and exhaustion. No one speaks, but you can feel the shared thought that hums between you. The owl may return, or it may not, but whatever happens, you're ready in a way you weren't before. The night taught you its language, at least enough to survive until morning. Historians still debate whether the lessons from nights like this one echoed through generations, shaping the way ancient humans approach the dark, or if they faded forgotten until the next terror forced a new plan. But tonight you know that these moments matter. You know that the scars on your arms, the grit beneath your nails, the smoke on your skin, these are the marks of a night that changed you. The forest feels different now, not safe, not exactly, but known. The owl's absence hums as loudly as its presence once did. You think of its eyes, sharp and bright, of its wings, slicing the night. You think of the wolves, their shapes flashing between trees, unexpected allies in the chaos. You think of the firelight on the faces of your people, of the stones, thrown the cloaks, fashioned the traps set in desperation and hope. Odd fact break. Did you know that the oldest known human settlements often have layers of ash and charcoal woven into the soil? Evidence of countless fires, countless nights like this one, where survival depended on the dance between flame and shadow. It's a quiet reminder that long after tonight, long after you're gone, these lessons remain buried in the earth, whispered by the wind. You sit there watching the stars pale as the faintest blush of dawn begins to touch the horizon. The night is almost over. The owl didn't return. Maybe it will another night. Maybe it won't. But now you carry the knowledge of this night with you, how to trick the predator, how to use the dark, how to become a shadow yourself when you must. Historians still debate whether it was courage or cleverness that truly set ancient humans apart. But here in the hush before dawn, you realize it doesn't matter. What matters is that you endured, that you learned, that when the dark came for you, you met it with fire and mud and song and stone, and you survived. The stars fade, the first birds begin to stir, and you let yourself breathe deeply and slowly, knowing that when the night comes again, you'll be ready. And so the night passes, leaving behind a camp of weary survivors who face the terror of the giant owl and live to see the dawn. The fragile peace you earned through mud and ash fire and mimicry, traps and teamwork settles over the forest like mist. The lessons of this night will linger, shaping how you and your people move through the dark from now on. No longer helpless prey, you've become students of the night's patterns, watchers of the trees, readers of shadows. The owl will return perhaps, but so will you, cleverer, stronger ready. And perhaps somewhere deep in the forest, it too remembers the night when humans became more than just the hunted. The balance has shifted. The night's song now carries a new note, not just fear, but understanding. And in that understanding lies your hope, your survival, your future. So rest now, listener. Let the night's whispers fade. Let the last stars slip away. The dark has taught its lesson, and dawn is here to grant you peace.